The Hawai'i Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani.
Good morning, beautiful people. It is Wake Up in the Den. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel as we do this and every Monday morning. But thank you for tuning in every day, whether live from 8 to 10 or on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Happy to be with you guys. It's been a while. We missed you for the last 4 days. Again, we were off Thanksgiving from the show and then Black Friday, but hope you guys enjoyed your time with your family. But there was a lot of sports going on, of course, but it feels weird. And then it was kind of weird this morning. No one had told us they had changed the locks on us. And then I was like, was I gone that long? Like, I know I've been kind of living in like a la land because I was in Vegas and then I came back for a few days, and then I went to Disneyland for a couple of days, and I came back for the UH football game, and then my equilibrium and like my sleep is just all thrown off. I get here this morning and I'm trying to like open the door with the key for like 3 minutes, it felt like, before I finally called somebody to ask what happened, and I'm just like, what is going, like, am I taking crazy pills? I'm looking at the key, I'm looking at the lock, like,
do you remember the Jamal Adams meme from back in his Jets days where he was trying to get into the Jets practice facility and he couldn't get in, and he's like, damn, guess they traded me, or guess they cut me, or whatever it was. That was me this morning walking up to the door and trying to fit the key in the hole, and it just won't even start, and I'm just like, oh, I guess I got fired over the weekend. I got fired on my day off.
That's what I felt like.
Whoa,
I'm like,
what happened?
I'm like, I guess I've been gone that long, and like I said, I've
I've
already been kind of like wonky. Like, people, when I saw everyone at the football game, I'm like, don't mind me. I'm just kind of living in this like world. Now I know how our friend Ben feels, because I was just kind of like tired and like just gliding through the day, because it's just, I don't know, my sleep pattern's all thrown off, and it still feels like it's thrown off. And then to start off our morning this morning with the lock not working, I'm like,
chaos.
I seriously thought, like, I don't even know what I thought. It took me a long time, honestly, to feel like it was actually the lock. Like, I was feeling like it was me, that I was not doing the key correctly, and that I was using the wrong key. And I'm looking, I was like, it looks like it's the same shape of the key and the lock.
That makes me feel so much better.
For a good amount of time, I really thought it was me. The whole, like, just why it was not working. Is it me? It was probably me. I know. I because have this lack of sleep right now. That's why I'm like, this is me. It's totally me. And then finally,
and it in fact was not.
Chaz. And then of course, all I had to do was push the door open.
Yeah, I mean,
I did test the handle to see if the handle is working.
The handle,
and I was like, okay, the handle is still locked. So it's still locked. But literally, we didn't even have to touch anything else or unlock the door. It was just however they propped it open, and then you just had to push the door open. And yeah.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the show. Happy December.
I can't believe
everybody. December 1st. Here we are. That it is the 1st of December. Time to start your holiday shopping. We're going to do typical Ku'ule things, and I'm going to keep reminding you guys to start your holiday shopping as a reminder to myself, because I am the master of procrastination when it comes to holiday shopping, and I tell myself I'm going to start shopping maybe this week, and it'll always end up like the final week of Christmas that it'll happen. But nonetheless, happy December, everybody. Happy holidays, and once again, hope you guys enjoyed your Thanksgiving and everything else, though. How about you, Paul? I haven't seen you in a few days. I know we chit chat, like, obviously on text every day, but it's just funny. I'm like, when we have these long holiday breaks, I'm like, it's been a while. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving?
So it was funny. I forgot that we were off those last 2 days, but when I was coming to the studio today, I was like, man, feels like it's been a while since we've chatted with the beautiful people. And then you're like, oh, yeah, we were off. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. It was good. It was good. Overall, Thanksgiving was a pretty, I don't want to say boring day because that has like a negative connotation,
Yeah.
but I enjoy a nice boring day. Morg had to work for most of it, so I slept in. I wrote a small little piece about the things that we can be thankful for as Hawaii sports fans. If you missed that, you can go to our website to check it on out. Thought it was a fun little piece in the spirit of the season. And other than that, yeah, Morg made a beautiful spread, as she always does. We crushed that, then crushed it again the next day. She was awesome. She made it out to the Rainbow Wahine, to one of the Rainbow Wahine games this past weekend. Hope you beautiful people made it out as well. I know that it wasn't a great result, but we'll chat about that. Yeah, it was pretty relaxing outside of having to cover a bunch of sports, but realistically, when the only thing to do for the entire weekend is either rest or watch sports, it's a pretty good weekend. So I cannot complain. I was very pleased with it. I feel both tired but somewhat ready for December. So ready to go, happy to be here, happy to talk about another UH football win, a great season, the best season in a couple of senses. One, since 2019, and two, ever in the Mountain West. We'll talk about that too, but I don't know. I'm good. How was yours? What'd you do? What'd you end up doing?
Nothing at all. As I kind of slipped it in there. Spent a couple days at Disneyland, yeah.
Just
but
very casually.
We'll talk about that later because I do want to get into some sports because we got, it looks like a new
Felipe.
chatter. Oh, he changed his handle? Is that what he
He's
said?
not sure why it's changed.
Oh.
But I caught up on the chatter between him and Caesar.
What's going on? But like Paul said, it was a nice, it is a football Monday. A lot of stuff to recap, of course, with the big University of Hawaii football win over Wyoming to cap off the regular season, but hashtag not pow yet, as Coach Bud would always say with the soccer team, because we got a bowl game left to play for the Rainbow Warriors. But we'll get into talking about the Wyoming game in just a little bit. Also let you hear what Timmy Chang had to say in the post game, along with Kansei, Matsuzawa, and Micah, Alejado. It's a lot of football that we're going to get into today because there's other big news headlines that are happening in college football right now.
Did something happen?
Yeah, just a little bit. And, of course, how it kind of concerns our fandom here as well, with Nick Rolovich being the interim head coach at Cal, and Cal coming up with the big upset win over SMU to essentially have which college sports are kind of fun, and it's almost like similar to like what the Bills and their fandom do, because the Duke fans are happy because with Cal beating SMU, Duke gets into the ACC championship.
Duke into the ACC
and then so like they're donating to like Cal charities and everything like that. So it's a whole thing that's going on. And Nick Rolovich, as he always does, has been active on the Twitter space as well. So and Jaron Calvi, Song Polutele, all of that, the Calgorithm, everyone hoping for. And there's still some minor predictions on potentially Cal maybe potentially playing in the Hawaii Bowl, because that would just be the best headline ever to cap off a regular season. But that's going on. The Mountain West Championship game is set, which we'll talk about. That's going to be between Boise and UNLV at Boise. So we talk about Duke being in the game. We'll get into that whole thing with Boise not only being in the Mountain West Championship game, but being able to host it, of all things, with them not being Boise State. I don't know. We'll talk about that. But yes, UNLV and Boise are in the Mountain West Championship game this week, Friday. And then there's all of the news and discourse surrounding the coaching carousel and Lane Kiffin and all of that stuff, and it's been pretty dramatic. So it's been an interesting wild ride in college football over the weekend and what better way to end off the regular season as we go into conference championship games, and then of course into bowl season. College football playoff will be here before we know it, because that's around New Year's. And there's a lot. So a football Monday. We'll also talk some high school football as some state champions were crowned. We had Kamehameha Schools Maui go back-to-back. And then we got Kailua. Shout out OIA. OIA on top. Kailua. Surf Riders are your state football. Remember, one OIA. And then now your state football champs. Let's go in Division 1. And then the open division will be decided this week, Friday, as well. So we'll talk some high school football and everything in between. But let's get into some Rainbow Warrior football. 27-7. And essentially, the defense, Hawaii's defense, not allowing Wyoming to score any points offensively because the 7 points sadly came from. Never mind. We'll just gloss over that. But
we don't need to chat about that. That's okay.
But no. But we'll mention it because it's a testament to the defense. And now we did talk about last week how the Wyoming offense has been the struggle bus this entire season. Their defense is clearly a top producing, top scoring defense in the Mountain West and in college football. But there's a reason why their record is the way what it is at 4-8 and 2-6 in the Mountain West is because their offenses just haven't been able to keep going. But nonetheless, Hawaii taking care of business 27-7 to reclaim that beautiful Paniolo Trophy that I want to say it's probably my favorite. I know a lot of people like the giant pineapple with the Island Showdown, but pineapples aren't exactly indigenous to Hawaii. So, but I like the whole Paniolo Trophy with the cowboy on top, and I don't know. I think it's my favorite trophy out of all of the trophies that Hawaii competes for. But yeah, we got a lot of photos of that on our social media and on our website, and Paul's recap on our website as well. A lot of stuff on our Instagram with post game, but collectively, clearly not maybe the best and most complete game of the season. I think that now we can look back forever will be that game against San Diego State here at home. Yeah. All facets, like beautiful football all
top
around. Right? Like even Micah Alejado earning yet again Mountain West Conference Freshman of the Week once again. Maybe not his best performance either, like we said, that 7 points that Wyoming has. But I've said this throughout the season with Micah and with this team, when things like that have happened, you don't worry about it. You just they shake it off really fast, and then they come back, and then they go to work and do what they need to do to come out with this win. Made it very exciting and entertaining for fans. Now I know there was, and Felipe pointed it out in the chat. Unfortunately, Kansei Matsuzawa did not beat the FBS record for the most consecutive field goals made in a season. However, he did tie it. So at least his name is still going to be etched in there in the record books, but unfortunately missed that chip shot. If you go back and watch it, though, you can tell there was some things that were a little off. I wouldn't say it's entirely just Kansei not being able to make that field goal. The timing looked a little off. Like I said, if you go back and watch it, you can see that there is clearly something not exactly according to how things always were. So I'm sure there was other things that were going on in terms of just the timing of everything with the snap and the hold and the kick. But because it was kind of surprising in real time, we're like, what is going on? How did he miss that chip shot? You made a couple of 47-yarders, and that's what happened. Perfect. Wind's going. You're at home. No rain, no wind.
I have to imagine it's a rhythm thing. Like, just because that's what Kansei's been all year is such his routine down to a T. I can imagine that if that was thrown off at all, then that probably does it. Just because you maybe don't necessarily think about a 30-yarder as well. Like, and I mean the entire group, you just kind of almost take it for granted. Mm-hmm. I know, especially like me, I do take those for granted, and that's more just a credit to what Kansei and that unit have been this season. But overall, like you said, it doesn't take away from just what is a phenomenal senior campaign for him. He should be kicking in the NFL next year. We'll hear from him. He talked a little bit about how, this won't be the last time he lives in Hawaii, but he certainly loves this place, and this place has loved him up right back. And I hope he knows that how proud the Islands are and the fans are of him, even despite not getting the outright record. He is, like you said, still in the record books forever for matching that record. A phenomenal season, and man, I've never been so gutted over a field goal that doesn't matter for the overall result of the game. Because like I've watched the Jets miss like game-winning field goals before, and like it's a normal thing. I've never felt like that after a field goal where I was like, oh yeah, we're up 20. So I think somebody pointed it out on social media where it was just like, you would have thought that they just lost the game the way that like the air was sucked out of the building. But that's because everybody legitimately pulls so hard for Kansei. Like, everybody loves this guy so much. So I'm glad that he, at the very least, got a chance to not just tie the FBS record, but also match Gabe Placencia's Mountain West record with 26 in a row dating back to last season. So just a hat off to Kansei once again for a great, great year. Remember, you got to go. You have to go vote for him for the Lou Groza Award. You have to go online. He's currently in the third out of the 3 players behind. I think it's Tate Sandell and Aiden Burr, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're P4 guys, all right? Let's get together. Let's vote. Let's get Kansei's numbers up and let him have the ultimate end to the season that he deserves.
Which one's the Oklahoma kid again?
Sandell.
Sandell's the Oklahoma kid.
He's good.
Because I was talking to Coach Sheffield yesterday, and Coach Sheffield said, clearly you can make a case for Kansei. Obviously, if he broke the record, then there would be like no question whatsoever he would deserve to win that award.
I think that's honestly why I was so gutted when he missed.
But then obviously Coach Chef and all of us here still believe like Kansei should win it, because I still feel like part of this award should go into somewhat of the backstory and the storyline, and to award a kicker that did what he did in Kansei Matsuzawa to get to where he is now and where he came from, learning English, all like the whole story, I think adds to that like prestigious award and all that stuff. Now I know that most things are going to be weighed on the numbers, all that stuff, but anyways, Coach Chef said if anything, the Oklahoma kicker
he's gonna win it.
Is going to be like, it's one of those like, remember when we were talking about like comeback player of the year in the NFL when it was what's his face with the Bills, shoot,
Damar Hamlin versus
Damar Hamlin,
like
Joe Flacco. Right, where it was like all right, Damar Hamlin likely because he literally came back from being dead, but at the same time you're like, well, if it went to Joe Flacco, who had that almost felt like a resurgence in his career NFL player wise, you're like, all right, but see, I'm like, story wise, how do you give it
It's just not satisfying.
I'm like, that Oklahoma guy, and he you don't want to give into the narrative of like encouraging all of these transfers, because he has not been at Oklahoma. This is his only season at Oklahoma. So I'm just saying, like, he's a transfer kid.
Well, not only that, but, it's good to incentivize the group of 5 schools still and be like, hey, you can still get recognition even if you're not P4. And, hey, I'm just going to toss this out there. Kansei's a senior, and Sandell, I believe, is only a junior. So, I don't know. He doesn't have to enter the draft early. He can stay another year and
it's something
win
like,
it next year.
I'm trying to remember what Chef told me. I think, one of the things, I think he has like 5 field goals for like over 50.
He's got the biggest leg in the country.
So that's kind of the thing, but no. Yeah. Kansei, Matsuzawa, let's go. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back to continue our conversation about UH football. Feel free to text in your thoughts at 808-888-KG1, 808-888-5481, or chime in on the very active live chat that we got going on right now. But when we come back, we will let you guys hear from what head coach Timmy Chang had to say in that post game on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. This and every Monday. Thank you for tuning in, recapping Hawaii's win to close out the regular season over Wyoming, 27-7, which, it looks good on us that we totally suited up this season. 8-4. Hawaii Rainbow Warrior football team, 8-4 on the season, 5-3 in the Mountain West. That looks very, very good. And yes, I know looking back, they're definitely still unhappy with that performance, I'm sure, that they had against UNLV. San Jose State, you know what? They still made it a game down the stretch in that game. Arizona, they were hurt. They had to travel on the road. It was a whole thing.
Arizona's good, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Oh, that's true. They are having a good season.
They did end up being a good team.
Yeah.
So,
but collectively, like Hawaii, and again, I know it feels weird in hindsight just because we're so looking forward to the possibility of them having a chance to make it into a bowl game, or not a bowl game, excuse me, the Mountain West Championship game should they have won out and beat UNLV, yada, yada, yada. But I said this last week after the UNLV win or loss that, man, if you told us and the fan base that by the end of the season, Hawaii would have been 8-4, 5-3, making it into the bowl game early and having all of this, even just the thought of possibly making it into the Mountain West Championship game, I think any fan would have signed up for that. And that's exactly what we got. So fortunately, Hawaii, and 8 consecutive senior nights so far for the football team that they have won, despite the last few years of not having those winning seasons. Hawaii will always find that way to win on senior night, and that's what they did. And they sent off this senior class, 26 seniors off into, at least for the regular season. Like I said, I feel like there wasn't as much tears and whatnot because this isn't the last game and everyone's anticipating to play in the Hawaii Bowl. So technically the seniors would get one more home game. So you could tell that the vibes on senior night were a little different. One, because it was just a winning season overall, a really great season collectively. And two, they know that they still have another opportunity to play at the Hawaii Bowl. So it is kind of a different feeling in this senior night. Even when I was at the game, I'm like, well, football season is not exactly over yet. We will be back here in a few weeks, to celebrate on Christmas Eve with each other, celebrate a really good season, and whoever they play, we will see. But
I like that we were all dancing around, by the way. I think even Micah
in the
did
post game,
where it's just we all almost know that it's going to be an invite to the Hawaii Bowl. It would be shocking if they're not in the Hawaii Bowl. But we all can't be like, oh, Hawaii's going to be in the Hawaii Bowl. It's just funny to me.
It is, but
because whatever.
They got to wait till the outcomes of yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah to make it officially official. But for the most part, I think we're assuming, especially with once the Mountain West Championship hopes were done, the assumption was, and it continues to be, that it'll be the Hawaii Bowl. Either way, I want to let you guys hear from what the head man in charge and Coach Timmy Chang had to say following that nice win on Saturday. And it just starts with his opening statement following that senior night.
I just want to give thanks to my Lord and Savior for a great 12 games. We got one more, and I'm very proud of these young men. I'm very proud of our staff. It starts with our assistant head coach, Chris Brown, and what he does in his mission mindset, and all the value he adds. Thomas Sheffield, Dennis Thurman, Anthony Arsenal, our coordinators. The game plans they consistently put together. It's these guys do unbelievable, and just a big shout out and thanks to them. And then some of my guys like Coach Ashua that have been with me now 4 years. Just the commitment level that they have, and you see the receivers and how they turn over. It's been great to see, and we got good young coaches on our staff, and so I just wanted to just take the time to just thank them and for their dedication, their alignment with me, and we couldn't have turned these last 4 years to what it was now, and be in the contention to potentially have won or been in a potential to play for the Mountain West Championship.
Okay. Coach, it's been a rough road, up and down, but 8 wins this year.
Yep.
Potential to go 9. Talk about, just finally reaching that to get that at that point.
Yeah, 8 wins. That's a great season. To win 1 game in NCAA football, let alone win 8. Really proud of the guys. We've come off, a couple 5-win seasons, and especially the last year, just 3 of those losses were by less than 2 points, and the difference was these guys, buying in and finding a way to close that gap, and it really started in January, and you know what, for us, we have 1 game left, but it'll start in January again for us, and that mindset of building championship caliber football team. Now it's on, it's on to us retaining and recruiting guys that want to be a part of this program, and we're going to need everybody's help. It's a state involved program, and we're going to need everybody's help to help retain and re-recruit and recruit guys to come here and play for us.
What is this year's senior class mean?
This year's senior class is unbelievable. I mean, they're the staple. I mean, there's guys that's been here 4 years. Tariq Jones, Peter Manuma, Nick Senecal, Zen Sotelo. I mean, guys that could have easily within 3 and 9, 5 and 8, 5 and 7 could have just walked away in this day and age of NIL and transfer portal, but they stayed. They stayed because they wanted to play with their brothers. They stayed because they wanted to play for the state, and they gave their all. And then there's seniors that came in for a year. There's seniors that been here for 3 seasons or 2 seasons. They all just really bought into each other. They bought into us as a program, as a state. And I couldn't be prouder for them. I mean, the way that they play, it ain't ever perfect, and football is not, but the way that they play, they go out there, they lay their bodies on the line. They're doing it for each other, but they're doing it because they love playing here at the University of Hawaii, and that's what I'm always remember about these guys, and also the guys that laid it down before.
The senior ceremony, Kansei, mutual bow, was that something you guys had done before, or was it pretty spontaneous? Or
no, it's just a respect. It's a respect for who he is, his culture, his values. The young man is unbelievable, remarkable. He taught himself English, and then he taught himself how to kick. And he came over here as a walk-on, and the only guarantee he had was, if you win the job, you get a scholarship. And then he goes out there and then becomes a Heisman hopeful. Unbelievable. I mean, it's an unbelievable story, and so I have the utmost respect for him and what he has done and what he's accomplished, and Hawaii should be proud, and Japan should be proud.
Coach, with a few weeks in between these games, with you guys playing on Christmas Eve, most likely, how do you think you guys are going to approach these next few weeks?
Yeah, school's going to come to an end, and so we want everybody to do good in school. That'll be the priority focus, but also the development of our younger guys on the roster. As a big senior class leaves, we'll re-recruit our guys that are on the roster. We'll recruit guys that are coming in with this is a visit weekend for us, and then we will continue to develop our guys, and so we'll practice the younger guys and continue to get them reps. A lot of them got some late game reps in the fourth quarter and have been getting, and even in those bye weeks we just continuously develop, and that's what our program is. We're gonna coach our tails off, and we want these guys to continue to add value.
And that was UH football head coach Timmy Chang following the 27-7 win over Wyoming on Saturday night to close out senior night. And
God, I love winning.
It feels good, right?
It's just such a nice time.
But I mean, like I said, Hawaii has the 8 consecutive wins on senior night, so it's.
I know.
Like,
I've never witnessed a football loss on senior night. It's been great.
And you barely have witnessed any losses on the senior
I know.
night.
I think I have 1 or 2 in total through almost 4
Well, we were having
4
this
years
discussion
now.
with women's volleyball when
Yeah.
they lost, and I was like, wait a minute, Paul barely.
It's like one of the first ones for me.
Yeah,
It
so-
very rarely happens, which is cool because I do understand a lot of people, and I saw this where people were just like, why are they doing senior night after the game?
Yeah.
You guys don't know what we're doing here in Hawaii, clearly. Because it's just so common. So now it's like, I don't know, it's cool. I assume we're going to win, and I assume that we're going to celebrate and have a good time afterwards. Like, losses don't really sit into my mind as an option on senior night until it literally happens. Like, until the final buzzer, final whistle, final whatever it is, I'm always just like, we'll get some Manoa magic. We'll pull it out tonight. It's just the way it's going to be. I'm glad that they didn't make me sweat it out this time, that it was just a very easy 20-point victory.
Oh, man. But collectively, again, Hawaii doing pretty good. Fortunately, the 9 penalties for 95 yards didn't really have a significant factor in this game, because we know that when Hawaii racks up those penalties, it tends to bite us in the okole down the stretch for whatever reason, but put up 417 yards of total offense, so to kind of counteract some of those penalty yardage. Obviously, the game got a bit chippy down the stretch, but that's football.
Did something happen?
You got helmets flying everywhere.
Surely there were no helmets thrown to a sideline.
No, not at all. But and we'll hear Micah Alejado talk about that a little bit, and just, Wyoming doesn't have another game, right? Hawaii's going out there, and no matter what, they know they're playing another one. Clearly, they do. It was important to win on senior night, and winning is winning. You wanted to get to that 8-win mark as well, and that significant 5-win mark in the Mountain West. Paul, if you want to kind of tell the beautiful people about that you kind of shared there when we were off air, because I did not exactly realize that. I know it was in our post-game notes, but at the same time, I think that's something that's worth emphasizing as we just talk about this, a turnaround that has happened now officially under head coach Timmy Chang.
Yeah, this is something that I didn't realize, one, going into the season, or even going into last night 2 nights ago, I guess now, until the post-game notes hit our inbox. But yeah, it's a program best 5-3 finish in Mountain West play. It's the third time that the Rainbow Warriors have ever finished with at least 5 wins in the Mountain West Conference in 14 years of membership. That's pretty darn good to me, because the other 2 years were 2018 and 2019. Obviously, those are pretty fun years in terms of, I guess you want to go modern Hawai'i football, non-golden age of Colt Brennan and Timmy Chang of them.
The whack days.
Yeah, but that's impressive. It does, to me at least, it moves up this season a little bit further, where, I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed that Hawaii sputtered out of the Mountain West Championship conversation. I thought that was disappointing. And I think that I take that back a little bit now, considering that this is as good as it's gotten for Hawaii. And sometimes you need things to break your way, and whatever. If you told me at the end of last season, the end of last year, that Hawaii is sitting in this place now, I wouldn't have been shocked, but I would have signed up for it in that moment. I would have asked, where on the dotted line do I have to sign for that? I think a lot of Hawai'i football fans would have agreed with me at that point. Well, we got that. So this was an awesome year. I do want to emphasize that. 5-3, it ties the best record. It's only the third time that they've ever had 5 wins in Mountain West play. So Timmy Chang, his staff, the players deserve all the credit in the world for competing in, and this is still the current version of the Mountain West, right? Where there are some good teams in this conference, and they were competitive week in and week out, even on the road, which has been a big question mark, not just for Timmy Chang and them, but for Hawaii teams in general. They were decent enough on the road, and they were phenomenal at home.
Lo and behold, though, also, and we're going to take a quick break, and we'll talk about this when we come back. When it comes to the Mountain West Championship conversation, it seems like the one-up was more so on the side of those that are staying back in the Mountain West in terms of being even remotely in the conversation the last couple of weeks. Now, obviously, it came down to 4 down the stretch, but Hawaii was the additional one that we were talking about in there, and the future is looking pretty bright. And New Mexico has solidified their head coach there for the next few years as well. They have had a phenomenal season, 6 wins in a row that they riddled off, but then they miss out on the Mountain West Championship game. So we're going to take a break. We'll get back into more UH football specifically a little later in the show, but when we come back, I do want to talk a little bit about the rest of the college football landscape, including the Mountain West and the Mountain West Championship game. Again, what happened with Cal and the upset over SMU and the whole fallout and everything happening with Lane Kiffin going from Ole Miss now to LSU. But, I saw this on social media, so, I got to mention it. Things went pretty well and they elevated their D coordinator or whatnot. And things went pretty well the last time a coach kind of did this and left their current school and went to LSU and it fell apart. And then the coach that got left behind, at Notre Dame, seems like they're in a pretty good spot right there. So Ole Miss hoping that the same thing can happen for them and Lane Kiffin can just keep doing Lane Kiffin things. Anyways, we'll be right back to continue some college football talk on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel as we do this and every single Monday. Thank you guys for tuning in, or if you're listening on demand, we appreciate you guys that do, and that is why you are the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. Feel free to text in at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481 if you do want to get in on the conversation, or you can join in on the very active YouTube live chat that's going on right now, mainly between Caesar and Felipe. I know we're got to catch up with a lot of stuff that are going on in there, but I wanted to start talking about the rest of the college football landscape right now. And I mentioned this earlier, but unfortunately, the Mountain West didn't do the funniest thing that they could have done and just had UNLV and New Mexico in the Mountain West Championship game. Now, it did come down to a few of those teams in addition to Boise State and San Diego State, so they had to go to the computer tabulations and whatever, and the computers sadly spit out that Boise State deserved to host the Mountain West Championship game. Not only be in, but host the Mountain West Championship game again, and they will be hosting a UNLV. So we get a rematch of last year's Mountain West Championship. It's just that the home teams are reversed, but I am like gutted for New Mexico because I honestly, and this is, yes, this is a little biased in the sense that I think that the Mountain West, it would have been awesome if they just said, oh, bleep the computer rankings. Let's just award teams that are going to remain in the Mountain West. And I honestly don't think anyone could have faulted them for that because New Mexico played incredible football down the stretch. I mean, how many weeks can we go back, Paul, where we kept saying, like, oh, we're so glad Hawaii doesn't have New Mexico on the schedule. Man, this New Mexico team is actually sneaky good. Man, like, we kept singing the praises.
They went from sneaky good to just flat out good.
We were singing the praises of this New Mexico squad what felt like a while, right? Like, and sure enough, they just turned it on at one point in the season, and they just kept it going. So I am gutted for them that they weren't able to crack into that Mountain West championship game. I know they released an official statement and all of that stuff, and it just goes to show, though, I think with the computer rankings and stuff, obviously Boise State is always going to just kind of have like that little bit of advantage, just because, I mean, winning consistently does earn you a little bit more of that favoritism, even if it is from the computers, unfortunately, and that's exactly what we saw here, because we've been saying it just as long as we've been saying New Mexico isn't just as long as we've been saying New Mexico has been a really good team, we've been saying the opposite about Boise State. It's like, oh, they're not as strong as they've been. Like, they don't have Ashton Jainty. Clearly they've been beaten. They're a beatable team. If Hawaii were to play them, I believe they could beat the Broncos, blah, 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 blah. But now we're stuck with UNLV and Boise State once again. Either way, New Mexico and UNLV remaining, and I mentioned this before we went to break, with Hawaii even potentially being in the conversation, potentially could have swapped out. It would have been Hawaii, UNLV, had Hawaii beat the Rebels in Vegas.
Or San Jose State, maybe.
Yeah, the fact that it felt like after this season, collectively, the Mountain West teams that are staying in the Mountain West compared to those that are leaving, the Mountain West teams that are staying had collectively a better season, I think. And yeah, you can look at statistics, but when you just look at, head-to-head matchups and top scoring, like offenses and defenses, we talk about San Jose State having that potent offense. UNLV has that potent offense as well. They seem like they're going to be really good as long as Dan Mullen or any head coach that they have there that is a really good head coach for the Rebels is going to be there. Now you insert Hawaii into the mix with them officially turning around the corner, and now Hawaii being back into the conversation of a very solid football team. And then you have New Mexico, and New Mexico giving their head coach that extension and giving him a little bit of a raise as well to remain the coach of the Lobos. The future looks bright now for the Mountain West Conference in terms of football. Then you bring in NIU, you bring in UTEP, and what's that's left to be seen in the future, how good those teams will be against the current Mountain West teams. But it is makes me feel warm and tingly inside that it seemed like other teams that are leaving, like your Colorado State, like your Utah State, Fresno State, still didn't look like, oh, we're afraid of the Bulldogs, because Hawaii, with the offense just starting to click with Micah Alejado back from injury in that one, if they played him towards the ending of the season, I think the result could have been very much different. But I think the future is very bright for the Mountain West, and I think that's very exciting and a good takeaway from this past season.
I would agree. I am in a good place mentally when it comes to where the Mountain West is going forward. I think you have plenty of teams who feel really, really good about, like you said, teams who seemingly have coaching stability for now. Obviously, that's always fleeting, but it's nice. I was rooting for New Mexico throughout these final weeks because of that's going to be one of our fellow conference members going forward. I was rooting against the states as they get ready to leave for the new PAC conference. So, yeah, I think you're spot on. A really good place for the Mountain West, and I wouldn't put too much into negative years for NIU or UTEP or whatever it is, mostly just because I think football, you see more than almost any other sport, teams flip year to year. Like, you could be bad one year, and by the next, you have created something perfectly fine, especially in the age of college transfers and NIL and portal and this, that, and the other. I don't know. I feel very good about where the Mountain West is going, where it is as we stand today, and even better, Koo, I feel good about how Hawaii sits in the Mountain West Conference and their chances to bring home conference championships in the future. Championships. That was multiple with an S.
Let's see. We got a text. This is funny. Any idea why we keep saying this is the last time Hawaii qualified for a bowl since 2019? Didn't Hawaii qualify for the New Mexico Bowl with a 500 record? Are you trying to totally wipe TG from our memory? Yes. Just kidding. Partially, yes. But no, if you go back to that, again, that was a shortened season. That was during COVID, all that stuff. They did have a 500 record, but it was like 4-4. And this is the best way I can give that example. It's kind of like how when the Dodgers won that first World Series and how I kind of put that asterisk, like it was a shortened, baseball season, MLB season, and because of COVID, all of that stuff in between. So yes, they did qualify for a bowl game and got invited to the New Mexico Bowl under Todd Graham in 2020, but you're 4-4.
Focused on that.
You played like the 8 game. It wasn't like a full football season where it's your normal. Like sometimes Hawaii has like the 13 games or whatever. It's just, yeah. So I just chuckled at we're trying to wipe TG from memory, but I think there's still you're not wrong. But this is like the true qualify for a bowl game like it was in 2019 versus a shortened season, that kind of stuff.
I don't even think if I've been saying it's the first time they've qualified for a bowl since 2019, and that's not what I've been meaning to say. I've more just been talking about this is the best season since 2019, period.
No, but we've been saying and not just we, but collectively since 2019, they get invited to the bowl game.
Because those years, here's the thing. With COVID years, just in general, it was all strange. You had to almost argue your way in. I don't know. It's a weird era, COVID era sports in general. And I feel bad because I don't want to take away from the athletes who did compete in that time. Yeah. But also, in general, it's not the same as what we are seeing now.
Yeah. And
or even before.
Yeah, and I just wanted to explain that point.
It's almost like pre- and post-COVID.
To our texter, where it's like, yes, you're not wrong, where they did qualify, they played, and there was the Battle of the UHs, they played Houston, all of that stuff. It was a good win, all of that. But then there is that little asterisk where it wasn't, like Paul said, it's just that weird era of 2020, COVID season, yada, 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 because Hawaii was shut down, all of that stuff. So, you're not wrong. Hawaii did go and play in a bowl game. It's just a little different considering it wasn't a full, true college football season at that time.
2020, at least 2021, the East Coast, the Hawaii Bowl was canceled. So they didn't play in the bowl game that year. And then, 2020, like you said, is just this 9-game season spliced up that, I don't know. It's the Dodgers.
Exactly. That's why I said.
It was a perfect comparison from you.
Now it's now the Dodgers and eventually win an actual World Series, but a couple of them. Dang. Why you got to bring up those memories for us? Anyways, we do need to take a break. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht talking some college football. Let's see. Maybe we'll save that for hour number 2 about the whole fallout of college football and what's happening now with Lane Kiffin.
Mr. Lane?
Yeah, going over. Because I did kind of want to wrap up the bowl conversation because obviously we talk about the Hawaii Bowl and Hawaii not getting an official invite yet, but we can anticipate that they are going to play in the Hawaii Bowl. But there's been the speculation about Cal being in there and Cal coming out with a massive upset win over number 21 ranked SMU over the weekend, 38-35, led by true freshman quarterback Jaron Keave Sangapolu-Tele and interim former head coach at UH, former quarterback at UH in Nick Rolovich to cap off the regular season and to essentially catapult Duke, of all teams, into the ACC championship.
7-5 Duke, by the way.
A 6-2 Duke in
7-5 overall. 6-2 though.
6-2 in conference in the ACC, and if you look at the standings, I mean, technically they're not even second. It would have been SMU that would have been in the ACC championship game to face Virginia. Now it will be Virginia and Duke, all because Cal played spoiler, similar to what Hawaii did to New Mexico somewhat similar. They just knocked them out of the bowl game last year, but this knocks SMU out of a championship game. So massive win, unranked Cal, up and down season that they've had so far, and then they were able to beat a nationally ranked team and bump them out of the actual championship game. So yes, Duke, I mean, you had SMU, Miami, Pitt, Georgia Tech, all with that 6-2 record. Virginia
Miami
7-1.
is a top 12 team in the country, and they're not playing for their championship.
So if we thought the Mountain West kind of got messed up in terms of berth and eligibility in the college football playoff, I mean, the ACC, they're just having another one because Virginia better hope that they
They got to win. They have to win. Otherwise, are we going to see like JMU and Tulane in the playoffs over ACC? Like it's the most insane. Oh God, it's so funny. I love chaos when it's not with my team.
Especially because, this was all because the ACC is a power conference. So they were one of the drivers in all of the craziness that we're seeing right now in college athletics. Clearly not as big of drivers as we know as the Big Ten and the SEC, but nonetheless, they're still listed up there as a P4 conference. And to see them have
they
to
snatched
suffer,
my Syracuse Orange from the Big East way back in the day to the ACC.
To see them have to suffer and potentially lose to the Dukies.
Shame. What a shame.
And knock themselves out of college football playoff contention.
Am I rooting for Duke? Oh my God.
We're rooting for Duke just to create more chaos in the college football landscape. But also on the flip side, too, when we talk about the AAC, the American Conference, who we mentioned this last week where technically it's Mountain West versus American in the Hawaii Bowl. But if you go to the Hawaii Bowl website, before they used to have that at the top, but they don't have it anymore because anything can happen. When you look at the American Conference rankings, it will be North Texas versus Tulane in the AAC championship game. And
a lot of green.
Should it be Tulane that comes out on top, you can pencil them in to the college football playoff. And then
probably the same with North Texas, to be honest.
Yeah, potentially. But after that, with the ACC, you only have, 2, 4, 5 teams that are bowl eligible currently at 6. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I was looking at the conference record. Sorry.
I was about to say, I'm like, in their 30-team conference.
But it's not that much more. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams right now
6, 7.
Bowl eligible in the conference. But if you have 1, maybe 2 teams that get invited to the college football playoff, that takes them out of the Hawaii Bowl. And I think some of them are already, or AAC are slotted into other bowl games, which is why teams like Cal comes in the conversation. Our texter said, what about Boise? I know this will never happen, and you know too, but that would be kind of fun. Boise State, just to see, and I agree, to see how, because we've been speculating how good Hawaii is this year and how they could potentially beat Boise State. I would love to see it too. It's not going to happen, but that is kind of the explanation as to why Cal is still potentially a prediction on
so
some of
awesome.
these. Like the ESPN national guys, only one of them this week though put Cal and Hawaii in the Hawaii Bowl. But that is why with the American potentially having CFP teams in there, so that would be take them out of Hawaii Bowl and the other teams potentially going elsewhere. And we mentioned just the fact that ESPN owns these rights for the television and own the rights to the bowl games. You can do whatever you want, and you essentially can put this storyline type of game for two teams that have no implications of making it into college football playoff. Why not do it for the ratings on Christmas Eve?
It would be so awesome.
Maybe the consolation prize would be Ohio from the MAC against Hawaii, because then you would have another former UH player and coach coaching against each other at Brian Smith over there as well.
Too.
You know, like, make it happen, please. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of further that explanation as to why there's this speculation on anything can happen. And we're way up against the clock. So we'll be back. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll talk a little bit more football, hear from Kansei and Micah Alejado. In the second hour, we'll also get into some Rainbow Wahine basketball, as they didn't have the best showing, but a lot to take away from this past weekend. So we had a lot more to talk about in hour number 2 on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Man, where did the time go? I felt like we just went.
I can't believe
we're
already.
reports that long? Just like, it's already time to take a break in this. All right, we're just going to
all right, we'll chat with you guys after the break.
We're going to take a break. No. Thank you guys for tuning in. We've been recapping a lot in not only UH football, again, Hawaii coming out with that 27-7 win over Wyoming on Saturday to cap off the regular season this year and look ahead to the bowl game, potentially Hawaii Bowl, but not official, so we'll see what happens if and when that invite comes or whoever it does come from. But we were kind of closing it out with all the craziness happening in college football because clearly Boise State, unfortunately, on UNLV again in the Mountain West Championship game, but New Mexico seems like their future is bright. We're talking about everything that could go right in terms of people that are like ourselves that have no skin in the game when it comes to the ACC. And we're all going to cheer for Duke, everybody, to upset Virginia in the ACC championship.
Just this one time.
Just to completely continue to throw a wrench into the college football playoff and kind of screw over some of these Power 4 conferences that thought that, hey, let's do this and take advantage of all of this. And when it happens to them, what's going to happen? And I saw our Colin Schaefer kind of comment in there in the YouTube chat that it would be hilarious to see JMU and Tulane over an ACC champion. But JMU coach expected to be hired by UCLA per reports.
Yeah.
It will just be
Dare
funny
to dream, Colin.
to see what happens at that point. But it's interesting because, like I said, looking at the college football landscape and seeing what could happen potentially in the Hawaii Bowl and all of that stuff. Let's see. We did get our friend texting also been. Aside from storyline, do we really want Cal? We saw what having insight from Stutz did to Hawaii. We know Rolo and Timmy talk, so Rolo has insight as to what Hawaii does. So I saw somebody else tweet about this, about just not wanting to face Cal in the Hawaii Bowl because they're like, oh, then Rolo or Cal is gonna take the Hawaii recruits like they already are. And it's funny because I'm very competitive. And so in my mind, I do want Hawaii to, the storyline with Cal is awesome and it adds to it. And the fact that they're a good football team, I think adds to it even more, especially for this coaching staff and for these players, right? This is a chance, they're competitive, and Coach Chang and this coaching staff, this is a chance for all of them to collectively prove that they can beat a high-quality team, that they can redeem themselves from that San Jose State loss, from that UNLV loss. I'm a competitive person, and I'm like, if this is a chance for me to prove, how awesome I am or how awesome we are, I want that. I want that opportunity because everyone's going to talk about, oh, Cal's going to come here and just roll over Hawaii. I didn't mean to do that, but you know what I mean? People are going to talk about, oh, they're just going to pencil Cal in as being this better team that can come in here and beat Hawaii. And I understand because we saw what Rolo was able to do, right? It's not like people are anticipating that because there's nothing to go off over the fact that they are just a higher, a P4 type of team. There is some to say with Jaren being the quarterback that he is. They're a good team. But if I'm Hawaii, I would welcome that competition. I would want to prove that, hey, those were fluke games. Hey, this is our home field. This is the first time Timmy Chang gets to coach in a bowl game, and it is the Hawaii Bowl, and all of these players, these seniors that we talk about, Micah Alejado being as competitive as he is, right? I want Cal more so for that reason, because it gives our home team a chance to prove themselves against a high-quality opponent, because that will be, as much as we want to celebrate how great the season was, that will come back and be the criticism as couldn't show up against San Jose State. You couldn't show up against UNLV. And then Arizona, you can go either way about that Arizona game, right? So this is a chance for everybody, the last game of the actual season, to prove themselves and be like, hey, we beat a high-quality team in Cal, a well-coached team in Nick Rolovich coming back home, a really good quarterback on the other side in Jaron Calve-Sangapolutele, and just the team in general. And this is a team that got blanked out by San Diego State, who you annihilated here at home, right? Like, so all of those things, I personally want Cal to play Hawaii here for all of those reasons, because I want Hawaii to really have this true test that, hey, they can beat this team that has all of this storylines around it. And yes, we feed into the storylines around it, of course, as well. But it would go very well for the home team to test themselves against a well-coached, high-quality football team in Cal. So I'm on the other side where I'm like, I want them to come here just so Hawaii can prove it to themselves, prove it to the fans that they are this really good team who just had a couple of blips in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I sit here and I've never run from a challenge.
Yeah.
I like them. I think they're fun. I think that's the way that this team is hardwired in general. And similarly, it would give them an opportunity to make up for those losses in which they had games where they probably should have played a bit better, right? Against Stutz and San Jose State. I'm sure they would like that one back. I'm sure they would like to show that, hey, Timmy can beat some of the other branches of is it the Timmy Chang tree? What tree is it really? Is it just I guess it's the June Jones tree.
June Jones tree, yeah.
Either way. Also, this is not what our texter said, because about the recruits. The recruits thing came up separately.
Yeah,
I didn't want to put that on our texter. That's not really something that I worry about either, just because, one, it's the world of NIL. If they want to go somewhere else, they're going to go somewhere else. Especially like money-wise, if you're competing against the P4 can outspend you. So I'm not really worried about that. And like, if a kid's making a decision off of one singular game, to me, as somebody who's like gone in and done recruiting before, and albeit at a much lower level than Division I FBS football, but someone who has recruited college athletes to come play for a school, there's a lot more that goes into it than just like one weekend of a game. And like, I don't know, I think it would be fun. The storylines would be fun. Being able to compete against Cal, a high-quality program, would be fun. Like you said, San Diego State beat the life out of them earlier in the season. Now, they're not the same Cal team that they were then.
Yeah. Different coach, obviously.
Hawaii's not the same team that they were previously in the season as well. So, I don't know. I think it would be a lot of fun. At the end of the day, the bowl game is just kind of the cherry on top to me, so I don't really care if it's a win or a loss. I just want a fun, competitive game, because bad teams don't make bowl games. Like, that's kind of the whole point of being bowl eligible, is you have to reach a certain platform, a certain level, so that you can play in it. I don't know. I'm totally fine playing Cal. I'm totally fine playing a team who's good. Like, at the end of the day, I want one more challenge for these young men. I want them to put on a competitive show for the fans one last time. And also, part of playing in the Hawaii Bowl, and this is an underrated thing, is that it's another home game for you. Mm-hmm. Hawaii was 6-1 at home this year, with a 2-point loss to Fresno State that was a 2-point conversion away from being caught from going to overtime. So, like, it's hard to win in Hawaii. It's hard to win at TC Ching. It's hard to beat Hawaii on the island. I don't know why that would all of a sudden change for a bowl game. So, I don't know. Yeah, let Cal come on in. Let's play them. And if they beat us, great. They're a P4 school. I would hope so.
Yeah.
And if they don't, awesome. It's another feather in the cap of Timmy Chang, this coaching staff, this team, these players, and what they have done, what they have accomplished this season. So, yeah, I don't know. Who cares?
Nick Rolovich never had to coach in Ching yet, so there you go.
Yeah, true.
It'll be a new experience for him to have to and deal with the makeshift locker rooms that are in Les Murakami, all of that. Jaron Calve-Sangapolutele. Wait. Yeah, it was at Mililani High School because he didn't make the championship game, right? Yeah, for the States. I was like,
also hurt.
I was like, right? He didn't play in Ching when he was in high school, so all of that stuff. And I think it would be fun, and I would assume that the players and Coach Timmy would feel the same as well.
I'm sure they'd be pumped.
Because again, and shoot, when we talk about, I don't know where the contract situation is, but this is your chance to really prove yourself and be like, all right, we deserve the raise. We deserve the extension, because if you can come here, beat Cal, and prove that, hey, it wasn't a fluke. We beat a quality team. Yes, at home. We can continue to win games at home. Like,
we're on those up and up. That's what you want to keep proving.
Let's go. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, we will go back to more of the Wyoming-Hawaii game that happened on Saturday. Specifically, though, let you guys hear from quarterback Micah Alejado and, of course, kicker Kansei Matsuzawa and what they had to say following that senior night game, next on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
With Ku'ulei Agbayani on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Ku'ulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, we want to go back to the Wyoming-Hawaii game again. The Rainbow Warriors coming out 27 to 7 over Wyoming to reclaim the Paniolo Trophy. But a couple of guys that had, decent games.
Okay,
fine.
By
Paul's
their standards,
fine games.
They had fine games by their standards.
Definitely had better games throughout the season, but nonetheless,
definitely had worse games. Well, one of them did.
Both guys have been kind of the talk of the town throughout this season. Again, Micah Alejado earning Mountain West Freshman of the Week awards again, so he continues just to be recognized as he should. I don't think. Is there even a question now if he's going to be Mountain West Freshman of the Year?
No. I don't think there was a question to begin with. And I wrote that in my article a couple of weeks ago, where the question was if he could compete for Mountain West Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He is by far, to me, the Freshman of the Year in the Mountain West Conference. They play 12 games, 13 games, 12 games. Half of those games, he was the Freshman of the Year. That means somebody else would literally have to win every single other award for them to have as many. To me, it's a runaway favorite.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with him first. So following that 27-7 win, here is what quarterback Micah Alejado had to say, and he just starts talking about how important it was to get that win for the 26 seniors.
It was super important, just knowing how much these guys have been through, and Coach Timmy talking about how they laid the foundation, and they were his first class. So just having these guys go out strong, it was amazing. And becoming close with those guys, and especially Landon and Zen on the offense side, and Carson, everybody on the offense side, and just the whole team in general. It was something special, and that was something the team took pride in this week, is just being able to send them off strong and on a good note. But thankfully we got another bowl game, so I hope to send them off for that game.
Micah, how did you bounce back from the UNLV game, and then they got the pick six to start? What was your response like?
Yeah, this has just been a whole thing the whole year, just facing adversity, and we kind of accept it, but it's just all about the response. And our offense has been good at responding to bad situations, and UNLV guys, you got to give it to them. But this year, this game, offense came out strong, and everybody did their part, and it was a good showing.
What can you say about the bounce back for the defense today, not giving up a single point after one I'm sure they would like back last weekend?
Yeah, that's just credit to Coach Thurman and the whole defensive staff, and to the coach, to the players. It's a mentality thing for us this year, and they didn't like that. They didn't like the taste in their mouth after what happened, and the whole team did it in general, and that's the kind of product and what you get after that kind of loss. So yeah.
Micah, talk about the turnaround. I mean, last year, a lot of close games. Could have gone your way, didn't. This year, you managed to win those games and racked up 8 wins. Talk about the turnaround from last year to this year, bowl bound for you guys.
It was a good shift in cultural changes. I think in the offseason, Coach Chang did a great job at implementing a lot of things that helped us. And it was a big buy-in from everybody here and all of the players. It was a big step for us, and as a program, it was a big step. And it was a step that we knew we needed to take. And I think this program can take it to much more heights than what we did this year. And we fell short of our goal, but also next year.
This group of seniors, what are you going to remember? How have they helped you in your development at UA?
These group of guys have definitely had my back this year. After the first game I got injured, come back off the game, and I throw 3 interceptions against Fresno State, and a lot of those guys were in the senior group that helped pick me up and had my back throughout that whole process. Especially guys on offense like Zan Land and those guys, but a lot of defensive guys, DK, Verdell, they're my locker roommates, so they had my back through that, and a lot of the D-line guys like Jamar and Dejan, they have my back, so those guys have done a lot for me, so I'm appreciative of that.
And that was UH football quarterback Micah Alejado and what he had to say following that 27-7 win over Wyoming to cap off the senior night and the regular season. Now here is what kicker Kansei Matsuzawa had to say following that game, and it just starts with just him describing how he feels after being honored on senior night.
Oh, it's amazing. I want to appreciate everyone who supported me throughout my journey, especially when I got here. Nobody knows me, but now fans, coaches, my teammates, I want to thank everybody. Thanks so much. I'm so grateful.
What was it like when you did your senior walk and then you got to share a bow with Coach Chang at the end?
Oh, it's amazing. I have so much respect to Coach Chang, and then I'm not going to say the words he gave me, but it's really meaningful, and yeah, I get emotional, yeah. This season especially, it's amazing, but I've been here 3 years, and it's always highs and lows, but every moment to spend the time with my teammates, the coaches, it's amazing, yeah.
You're the all-time consecutive kick leader in program history. Last one kind of skipped off. Were you kind of hoping it was gonna just move a little bit more inside?
Honestly, I don't want to talk about it. That happens, but it's the last field goal happens. I couldn't think about anything except the miss. I really wanted to make. I knew that was gonna be the NCAA record for most consecutive single season, and that the mistake has happened. But without Caleb and Jack, whole field goal unit, I couldn't do this throughout the season. I just want to appreciate everybody, coaches, especially field goal unit, Jack, Caleb. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. Yeah.
Yeah, how much were you able to, celebrate those guys tonight as well? And what kind of things did you say to your teammates and your coaches today as well? Guys like Coach Sheffield too.
Coach Sheffield is the only one believed in me, entire country before when I committed here, and it's fun and sometimes hard, but it's been a great journey working with him. And he's a great coach. His words, everything to me. And I just want to thank Coach Chang, Coach Sheffield, and all the rest of the coaching staff. And yeah, and Hawaii. Yeah, I think because of this place, Hawaii, I can have success this season. Yeah, I want to thank everybody. Yep. So since I started kicking, I believe in myself every single day. I never doubt my ability, and I was not expecting this amazing season. But after last season, I'm gonna make it NFL. Have a big, amazing season. So I got lucky. Great coaching staff, great teammates, great long snapper, great holder, and. Sometimes you need a luck, but just believe yourself, and do small thing right every time. The routine is really important. Yep. Thank you.
What are you going to remember the most about your time here in Hawaii?
I don't know. I love Hawaii. I love Hawaii. Hawaii's gonna be my home, in the future. Some point I want to come back Hawaii. I want to bring my family to Hawaii. This is an amazing place. I love the weather. I love food. I love beaches. Hawaii has everything. And then, it's so easy to play. I mean, like, between on and off the field, I can easily shut it down, not think about football, do something outside of football. That helps me. So Hawaii's the best place. Yep.
Amen.
Yeah, that was UH football kicker Kansei Matsuzawa, and then right before that you heard from quarterback Micah Alejado, and a lot of those positive takeaways. Again, they didn't have their best performances, and we know Kansei, if you kind of looked at him on the sideline after missing that last field goal, I mean that man was devastated. He wanted that record so bad, tied the record for consecutive field goals made in the FBS and all of that stuff. But as competitive as he is, as hard as he's worked so long, he wanted that record. But, at the end of the day, and, he still was able to thank the guys that kind of helped him to be almost perfect the entire season, and Jack Murray and Caleb Freeman and the coaches, giving a shout out to Timmy Chang and Coach Sheffield for really being the only ones that did believe in him, right? Like, they found him from nowhere, and this guy just did not speak English. Like, I think that was reiterated last night at the awards banquet, in that he hopped on a plane and went to the one school that would give him an opportunity.
So insane, man.
And I guess from the airport, it's like 2 hours away to the school. Did not speak English. Has to find. No one was there to pick him up from the school, is what Sheffield was saying. And like, he had to teach himself how to kick. I know he had posted like a video of him kicking in Japan, and it is so like, I feel bad for saying this, but let's be honest, it was not good form. It was really bad. It did go over, but it was just
early stage.
It was very ugly. But now it just has a beautiful kick. I mean, Jason Elam said just his technique is just beautiful, and everything that he has been able to accomplish this season with Kansei. But also, he just went and kind of blazed his own path, because it is very, those of us and all of you that are listening or watching that are familiar with Japanese culture, it is very you in America, you have kids doing their own thing all the time. In Japan, it's not as easy for like kids to just leave home and be like,
his story is absurd.
And American football of all things, right? You're just like, what is going on? So it was nice to see his parents in attendance. His girlfriend was there for senior night. They were at the awards banquet because they allowed their son to really find himself in another country. And man, oh man, like all of this stuff paying off. And he said Hawaii, he'll make his home in the future. Hopefully after a very long NFL career, he can settle here in Hawaii. And just, he loves being in Hawaii. And this is where I think, even if he had eligibility, and I'm sure there are bigger universities that are trying to find ways to make sure he has eligibility.
I'm sure there are lawyers looking into it.
But he's a guy that does seem like he is loyal, and he would have stayed. And
100%.
If you go to other schools, he wouldn't have the beach. He wouldn't have other things.
Look what happened to Matthew Shipley.
Yeah, but like with Kansei, right? He said he likes being in Hawaii because he can do things that helps him take his mind out of like football, right? Like,
imagine that helps him be successful too, by the way.
All of this stuff. So it was really nice to hear him say that in the post game, and how much he loves Hawaii and appreciates all of you guys fans out there. You can support him at tokyoto.com, buy your official merch. Kansei approved, officially trademarked merchandise. tokyoto.com.
Also, go vote for him on the
Luke Rosa Award.
But no, to build off your point, he is as inspirational gets. Like you mentioned, I mean, I sit here and I think about how many times do you hear the stories here in America about teachers or parents or whatever adult telling kids like, okay, that's nice, you'd like to be a professional athlete. What's your real plan? What's your real dream? That's for a place where it's like very legitimate to be like, yeah, I mean, people from the United States make the NFL all the time, so on and so forth. Imagine in Japan being like, yeah, Mom, yeah, Dad, I'm going to go play professional American football. Huh? Especially, like you said, in Asian cultures and Japanese culture, the greatness that is expected and the studies and all of these different things, he is in every way, shape, and form an inspiration. And the best part of it, he is the easiest guy to root for.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever had an easier time rooting for somebody in my life because every chance he gets, he is thankful for everybody else. Every chance he gets, he pushes the attention to everybody else. And it's not because he's not thankful for it. It's not because he's not thankful for the support. It's not because he doesn't want all of this. I'm sure this is the dream. This is what he dreamt of when he first watched that NFL game. But his first instinct is always, thanks to Jack, thanks to Caleb, thanks to Coach Timmy, thanks to Coach Chef. And I really appreciate the fact that he always throws Coach Chef in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's something where position coaches, coordinators, they don't get the spotlight very much. And especially special teams coordinators, similar to like corners and offensive linemen, when you're not talking about them, it's a good thing. When you are talking about them, it's probably a really bad thing. So it's a really nice light for Coach Chef to get some positive publicity where it's like the special teams unit, and I said this before, I think it's the best one in the Mountain West Conference this year. From punting, kicking, return game, all of that. By the way, which is really funny to say after the first play of the season that we all remember with Brandon White and against Stanford on the kickoff return. Since that moment, this unit has been phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very appreciative of Kansei giving love to the guys who gave him love all throughout the season. So couldn't happen for a better guy. Awesome story. And hopefully it's not done yet. Hopefully there are a few more pages left to be finished where there are some awards, some hardware coming his way, even if maybe that doesn't matter as much as the overall journey to him.
Yeah, no surprise, though, at the Alex Waterhouse Football Awards banquet last night, Kansei Matsuzawa, the special teams MVP. I think that was a shock amongst everyone that was there. But Coach Chef did just a phenomenal speech, emotional speech. I was crying, and it wasn't just Coach Chef, but a lot of the coaches. Jeff Reinbold, we got emotional with him presenting his award. Anthony Arsenal, so many tears, and I was like,
love.
I'm like, you guys, I'm like,
stop.
As someone that never cries.
Yeah, very rarely.
I was just crying every time. But no, shout out to all of those players. The Captain's Award going to Dejon Benton and Jalen Smith. Defensive Scout Team going to Reese Weber. Offensive Scout Team Award going to Titan Lakaden. Ben Yee Most Inspirational going to, it was two players got recognized for this one. Jackie Johnson III and Tariq Jones. As we mentioned, Kansei winning the special teams MVP. Defensive MVP going to Peter Manuma. And offensive MVP going to Landon Sims. And when Landon Sims was being talked about as well, and kind of like what we were saying with this guy that he just does everything. He's just the gritty guy. And apparently has a 4.0 in finance. I would believe.
Sheesh. So Landon seems really smart to me. Every time he speaks, I'm always like, this is such a well put together young man. And it's funny because, and this is not meant to be derogatory, that's not always the thought with football players, where it's like, oh, they're kind of the crazy boys will be boys, bash heads. And you do get that from Landon.
I was like, he had the ripped jersey last week.
You get that from Landon, but then he takes off the helmet and he steps in front of the microphone, and you're like, is this guy a scholar? Turns out he is.
Yeah. So, again, just someone that did a little bit of everything, or a lot of bit of everything during the season, and especially being here and sticking with Hawaii, staying in Hawaii, all of that stuff. So those are your awards. You can go to hawaiiathletics.com to see the breakdown of it. But last thing before we go to break, though, as it has to deal with the awards banquet last night, because as all these coaches were going up and presenting the awards and talking about some of these players, I think the biggest thing that Hawaii has to offer, and we've talked about this before, is, so these are for anybody that anyone listening or watching that are kind of, especially parents that are kind of, there's so much money in college football, and I get it. I don't fault anyone for taking money, but if you're not in a situation to need all of this money, you want to come play for Hawai'i football, because this coaching staff will make your son a better man in general, and they play true team football. It's unselfish. From the coaches, like collectively the coaching staff, like they're not your Lane Kiffin. They're not some guy that's going to be entirely selfish the entire time, right? Like, and a lot of these college football coaches and college staff, like football staff, like it's all about me, and all of that stuff, and them barely even caring about the actual players, caring about the future of the players. And it's just, hey, let's just like use and abuse your talent, and then after that, like, you're gone. Oh, well, you're going to make it into the NFL, so we'll like you a little bit more because you will reflect on us that we put you in the NFL. It's very a selfish game in college football.
Everything's so transactional.
I get it. It's a business. But in Hawaii and Hawai'i football, under head coach Timmy Chang and this coaching staff, you can feel that it's more than just being transactional and more than just winning. Now, they are going to coach to win. They want to win football games. They want to recruit the best talent that they can. But they look out for the players in terms of the future that they'll have. They look out for the person. And collectively, you feel that amongst all of these guys that, like, you just talk to them and they're such good young men, and it comes from that coaching staff. So I wanted to emphasize that in all of this going on right now. Maybe someone, again, is listening or watching that is deciding or kind of thinking about like where their son is going to go play football. And if you're not in a position where you really, really need the money, and I get it when people do need to make that decision, come to Hawaii and play for this coaching staff, because not only can you learn and become a better football player with all the coaches that they have, but they'll become better men because you can see it. It's true. Like Timmy Chang, like look at that guy. Like he is like the epitome of unselfishness, like a family guy. Like when he's not coaching, he's coaching his kids. When he's not coaching UH football, he's coaching his kids in like their leagues and giving himself to the community, right? Like, so they're just a true example and testament to maybe where you want your son to end up. And then you're engulfed in the culture of Hawaii and playing for something bigger than yourself and all of that stuff, all of the life lessons that come with playing in Hawaii. I think I just wanted to emphasize that, especially capping it off at the awards banquet, because you could feel that. You could feel how genuine this football program is. And now that the wins have come, I mean, like I said, if you're in a position to not need the money, and Hawaii will hopefully find the best way and continue to find ways to take care of its players as much as it can from a financial aspect, this is the best place, I think, for a lot of young men to come out and really learn how to be men, be good people. And then, yeah, like I said, play for something bigger than yourself, being just unselfish, and then playing for the state. So it's just, I wanted to really emphasize that point with all the craziness that we see in college football. That
okay, you big sap. That's enough.
I know.
I'm
so sappy. I'm getting teary-eyed. Well, they made me teary-eyed last night at the awards banquet. So you can thank Jeff Reinbold and Coach Sheffield and Coach Arsenal for getting a little emotional, because this girl already gets emotional, and to see them get emotional about their players, where you can feel how genuine they are. I'm like, people need to know this. This is where you want your son to come play and to really be cared for, and not just be a body to win football games. And then they're just like, all right, bye, see you later. Like, we don't care unless you're in the NFL again, so that you can reflect on us. If you're in the NFL, that's it. Like, we don't actually care about you. In Hawaii, it's very, very different. And I love that about our program.
Yeah, I mean, I talked to a couple of former Division I athletes the other day, and the big thing that they emphasized to me as we enter transfer portal season is that kids should start looking a lot more at fit and overall how they would go into a culture than the payday, because the money is fleeting. And especially if you pick the wrong school and don't find the right fit, all of a sudden that 1 year payday is the only payday you're getting. And now you have to go find another spot and try and figure out how to re-up your stock rather than being a consistent star and continuing to be compensated for that. So I'll echo your point. And yeah, I mean, yeah, they turn out great people. I think part of that is just the recruiting in general. I think they do a great job bringing in great young men to the program who continue to grow once they get in. They also just produce pretty damn good football players. Like, we've seen that. They're developing good football players. So to echo your point, you want to be a good young man and you want to be a good young football player, and you want to live in Hawaii during your early 20s, Come play. Come play. Why not?
Play here.
I don't know.
There you go. There's our advertisement to come play for the University of Hawaii. Where are all the other Dejan Benton since we're losing him? Like that's
He's a Jet, by the way.
That was a steal out of the transfer portal. My
I'm
goodness.
making calls and texts as we speak to see if I could be like, guys, day 3, I don't know when you need to get him, but this guy needs to be on the D line for the New York Jets next year.
That was a funny thing, actually. One last thing before we go to break. I know way past the break. Jeff Reinbold was the one to present this award to Dejan Benton, and one of the things he said, he kind of recognized Dejan's mom. He's like, where's mom? And had her stand up, and he's like, man, we got to deal with him, in his 20s. He's like, I can't imagine what a 4-year-old Dejan was like to deal with.
Dude. Just a little mountain of menace.
Because his personality is like he's a poet, but then he's very
awesome.
stoic, and he's kind of a man of little words, but then he's a beast on the football field. So it's just
I want him. I need him in a Jets uniform so badly, dude. We have so many holes on the defensive line. Please, I loved rooting for you this year. Let me root for you again next year.
Because it's totally his choice.
Obviously. Yeah, I'm sure you're making the decision. I'll make the call to Mooj. I'll make the call to AG. I'll be like, guys, I've got the guy for you. Maybe DT can put in a good word.
Yeah,
that's actually one where it's like maybe.
Oh my gosh, DT.
Oh God.
It was like I think it was the defensive MVP award, and then Kanoa was emceeing and was like, oh, sometimes I don't know if he's mad at me or doesn't like me or likes me.
Oh, so real.
But then DT was like, he just didn't want to go on stage to do the talking. So he went on stage, but I guess it was Nick Locker that did the he was like, he was not prepared for this, so we have Coach Locker here that's gonna do.
God, I just love this team. It's enjoyable to root for.
So now we don't envy Matt Elliott because you got to get that contract done.
That's why they pay Matt Elliott the salary that they do, and why they let me just talk into a microphone.
Yeah.
So we can go way past the clock.
Yeah. Anyways, we've definitely got to take a break. So we'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
back to more Wake Up in the Den with Ku'ule Agbayani on the Hawai'i Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people, Ku'ule Agbayani and Paul Brecht. Closing it out here on this Monday, what has turned into a football Monday, but I don't think you guys are mad at that. Talking about all things college football. I didn't even get to mention
UH football.
I didn't even get to mention that the Bears are number 1 in the NFC. Bears. Now, we'll talk some NFL tomorrow show, of course. You know what? I think we're going to make the executive decision now, Paul. We're going to do a YouTube live stream tomorrow because there was a lot of things on the rundown that we have not gotten to.
I was going to say, we've missed out on a lot.
Over the weekend, but we've still had some very fun, intriguing conversations. We heard from Coach Timmy Chang, Micah, Alejado, Kansei, Matsuzawa, and what they had to say following the win on Saturday for senior night. So there was a lot we still talked about on this Football Monday, but a lot of things we had planned to get to, but did not get to. So you know what? Let's just do another YouTube live stream tomorrow. There you go. So for you guys, we're going to do a YouTube live stream again tomorrow morning because there was a lot we didn't get to. And, I don't want our producer to have made a lot of the other graphics for nothing. So we'll just make sure that all of that stuff gets done so you guys can tune in on our YouTube channel tomorrow morning. Another YouTube live stream as we are just getting started in December. The basketball season now is underway. High school basketball starts in our OIA coverage. I believe I have scheduled to start next week. So there is a lot that will, and now we can still continue to talk about UH football because we got another UH football game that's going to happen in December as well. But let's get to some of your text messages. Someone texted in a little earlier saying in Star Advertiser article yesterday, the legislature seems skeptical about NIL funding, especially Favela and Capella. He said this is not professional. Representative Garrett said college sports has changed. I did not see that article, but based on your text message, it seems like everything we kind of talked about already when following that legislative session. Paul and I had mentioned with Favela, just spewing Favela things. Representative Capella, I thought had fair, intellectual, and well thought out questions about the NIL funding. Again, this is Matt Elliott, Timmy Chang, and Coach Beeman going in front of the legislature in front of us in a special hearing to ask for at least $5 million in funding specifically for NIL to the University of Hawaii. Now, we mentioned this and joked about, shooting for the moon, land on the stars, yada, yada, yada. I don't think the ledge will likely approve all of the $5 million. In a perfect world, football did ask for $2.5 million of that $5 million. Coach Beeman said, hey, $400K would make her comfortable with being able to recruit and retain players, all of that stuff. So Favela, I don't want to spend too much time about that. He just seemed like he didn't do any research at all, and he's just like...
It's not professional, even though it's definitely semi-professional now.
Yeah, it's like do a little bit more research on the college landscape, whereas I thought Capella at least had well thought out questions in terms of...
I thought they were fair.
Representing the constituents in terms of at least her... who she represents in, because I can understand it if you don't entirely know and sports is not a priority. Like I said, I wouldn't expect
everybody,
the politicians to prioritize sports, all of them, right?
I would hope we would know more than they would.
And I would hope that that's what politics should be. Everyone should be looking out for different parts of the state.
There's a lot more to life than sports, unfortunately.
So she was just more concerned on, all right, we're going to be giving money, like basically free money in a sense, to people that aren't from here specifically, and that's what she was like. And I thought that was a fair question.
I mean, you want them to keep the dollars here in the economy, in the state economy.
Yeah, and then we mentioned, I was like, hey, Representative Garrett is like our new best friend, because it feels like we do have someone on the inside that does understand the sports landscape, and he pointed out, yes, sports has changed. So yeah, we kind of talked about this a little bit. So I'll go back and I'll read the Star Advertiser article, but based on the text, it doesn't seem like anything that is stood out. It just seems like maybe it's a little delay in the article coming out regarding that special legislative session, and we'll see what happens once the budgets and everything comes out with that. Let's see. Someone else texting in, if Timmy Chang takes a job with an incoming Pac-12 team tomorrow and poaches UH players, does his legacy take a hit because loyalty just went out the window?
Yes.
It does, yeah.
Quite frankly, yes.
I think both.
At least to me. I shouldn't speak for you.
I think it does. Do I think that's going to happen? No.
Oh, I was going to say.
But if it does, if that's what the question is, I do think it would take a hit because then everything I said in the previous segment goes out the window.
And then we X that. We'll take it off
yeah,
air.
I was like,
never hear
just
it again.
kidding. Like, da-da-da-da-da.
I just would be very surprised.
I would be entirely surprised that if he were to, one, take a Pac-12 outgoing job because I don't think
to me,
any
it's a
of
lateral
them,
move.
Yeah, any of them are as lucrative, at least legacy-wise, and I think Timmy does care equally about legacy as maybe finances as well. And so it's like, I don't think he holds the money as high of a standard as most people, which that's why I can appreciate him as the head coach at UH because he's not BSing when he's encouraging players to play here and maybe forego more money because he is a testament to what that means, right? Like he could probably, especially with this coaching carousel going on right now, he could probably get an opportunity at one of those
something that's on the radar.
Jobs and be paid. Again, he's still paid less than $1 million even after bonuses. I mean, unless they went to like the
probably not even just Pac-12 jobs. I'm sure some P4s would love to bring him on as like their offensive coordinator or something along those lines. Like it is something that is a valid concern in the landscape of college athletics. But overall, and this is something to the credit overall of Hawaii, and I'm speaking UH, they do a pretty good job hiring coaches who aren't typically coming in with wandering eyes. They're not taking this job a lot of times looking at it as a stepping stone to a P4 job, which, to be fair, a lot of mid-major coaches do.
Yeah.
And to be fair to them, it's kind of what you're supposed to do. But Timmy is a hometown hero. He forewent the opportunity to go to the continent as a player. He got the opportunity to be the head guy at his alma mater and now has his alma mater in a good place. So barring a disrespectful extension offer, I would be shocked at Timmy Chang leaving. That's just the way it is, where it's a lateral move if you're going from Mountain West to Pac-12 at this point. There's no real difference between the two conferences. I understand the legacy of the Pac-12 name, blah, blah, blah. This isn't the Pac-12. Yeah. Sorry. It's not. It's not. Okay?
I feel like the only way you could have made a case if it was, the big brothers that stayed behind in Oregon and UW, then maybe. That's totally but I different. Mean, you got the little brothers.
Oregon State doesn't worry me ever. Also, I think they made a hire. They just, I don't know, doesn't really worry me.
Caesar, I don't always agree with your takes, but I agree with this one where Timmy Chang won't Lane Kiffin our team. Exactly.
Better chance of hell freezing over.
I don't think he would Lane Kiffin our team either. Like I said, I wouldn't fault him if the right job with the right pay came out. And
he might leave someday.
Like if he left, I feel like we would be here talking about like, oh, I could understand why he, similar to what we did with Rolo. I'm like, I could understand why he left.
Can't refuse.
But yes, I wouldn't think it was, some school's going to throw all this money that and him to coach somewhere that didn't match him, didn't match his family, right? Like,
well, and that's another thing that's really important is, and you'll know this better than I do, how many kids are they 5. Raising right now? Yeah. And they're not like older kids. They're relatively young kids. They're still school-aged kids. I know the last thing that I would want to do is try and move with 5 kids. I would also not want to try and figure out new school stuff, take them away from their friends. They've grown up here in a lot of ways. Like, they've had a lot of formative memories here. I don't know. It's just not something that I'm sure they are actively looking to do, is uproot their family again and go somewhere else. Unless, like you said, or like I said, it is an offer that quite literally you cannot refuse. I don't really see that coming this cycle.
Yeah.
Maybe it does eventually. I think it would take a couple of years more of success, sustained success as well, for a team to take that level of chance on Timmy Chang. Because, by the way, he's still a young coach. He's not going to get like this $10 million contract a year contract from somebody. Okay? But he does deserve an extension here. He does deserve a bump in pay here. The entire staff does in general. And I feel fine that the school will figure that out.
Yeah, and I mentioned this earlier, but just to inform everybody, we talked about New Mexico and Jason Eck being there and being able to seems to turn around the New Mexico program. So New Mexico had agreed to a 5-year contract with Jason Eck, and it said, so again, won 9 games in his first regular season. The deal includes an increase in average salary to $1.75 million from $1.25 million, and is now under contract through the 2030 season. So that happening, and again, I'm not sure what's going on behind closed doors with this coaching staff, but I would hope that something gets ironed on now. Again, just a reminder, Timmy only has this next season, being that the extension that was given by Lois. So we will see what will happen, and I think this is the time where you do have to lock in Coach Timmy, and more so knowing what I know about Timmy, being able to pay the assistant coaches and the staff a little bit more, right, to kind of keep everyone together here, because Timmy will be the first one to recognize how much of a part the assistant coaches and his staff played into this success. Like, he knows he can't do it alone. He has a lot of people in there that he trusts. He finally kind of figured out the right formula with the coaches in positions that they are now, and that's why we saw this success that we saw this past season. So at least we see that happening at New Mexico. I'm sure it could be coming down the pipe for UH. So that would be important to lock in. By the way, and I know we talked about this off air, Paul, but just for anybody else, we have kind of, and I'm surprised no one texted in this, but I feel like it'll come eventually. With the transfer portal stuff with our Hawaii players, something that I'm kind of like over and will not speculate anymore. Unless you guys want to text in, then maybe I'll entertain it a little bit, but I just won't even talk about any of our players. Are they staying? Are they going? I'm like,
if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
We'll talk about that if and when it comes. Like, I just don't like speculating anymore on players. That's just, everyone's dealing with it, and we'll talk about it whenever
it's the state of college athletics.
It happens. And at this point, we need the football coaches to stay, because football coaches are gone, the players are gone.
Yep, figure it out.
It's more important to keep the coaches here. But yes, live stream tomorrow, because we are out of time already. But thank you guys for tuning in on this Monday. For Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ule Agbayani. Mahalo for listening and watching. It's been Wake Up in the Den. Bye!